right, Chapter 12, Lesson 6. All right, so the display shows the maximum speed of 5 animals, okay? We want to use the bar graph to fill in the number of animals column in the table. So here, we've got a cat. We've got the animals down here on the horizontal axis. We've got the speed that they run, or their maximum speed in miles per hour on the y-axis, or the vertical axis. So a cat can go 30 miles an hour. A rabbit can go 35 miles per hour. A reindeer can go 33. So let's just say between 30 and 35 miles per hour. A squirrel can go between 10 and 15 miles per hour, and a wild turkey can go about 15 miles per hour. Now, we want to fill in the display. So how many animals do you see in the list that their maximum speed is 1 to 5 miles per hour? So there's none there, so we're going to write 0. So how many animals go from 6 to 10 miles per hour? 0. How about 11 to 15?
2.
So 11 to 15 is right here. So there's 2 of them, the squirrel and the wild turkey. So that would be 2. Is everybody clear how we're filling in this chart? So here is the rest of the frequency table. Okay? Is everybody clear how we got those?
Yes.
All right. So now we want to ask ourselves, which display allows us to find a rabbit's maximum speed? So you can see the rabbit's maximum speed on the bar graph, because there's a rabbit, 35 miles per hour. If you look at the table, it tells you that there's an animal that can go 31 to 35 miles per hour, but it doesn't tell you specifically the rabbit. Is everybody clear? So, number 3 says, in which display is it easier to find the number of animals with a maximum speed of 15 miles per hour? This one, it would be easier to find the number of animals that go maximum speed of 15 miles per hour or less by looking at the table. Is everybody clear? So, we have several statistical displays that we've talked about and some that you should already know. So we have a bar graph. A bar graph shows the number of items in specific categories. Okay, so a bar graph has categories. A box plot shows the measure of variation for a set of data and it's also useful for a very large set of data. Okay? A histogram shows a frequency of data divided into equal intervals. A histogram shows the frequency and they're organized in intervals. Okay, very important. A line graph shows change over a period of time. Okay, so on a line graph we have time and we have change. For a line plot, this shows how many times each number occurs. So this also tells me frequency, but it's also telling me frequency of a number. Okay, it's frequency of a number, not a category, as we have up here in the bar graph. Is everybody clear? So data can often be displayed in several different ways. The display you choose depends on your data and what you want to show. And this table of statistical displays helps you decide which one you're going to use. Is everybody clear? All right. So looking at our first example, it says which display allows you to tell the mode of the data. What's the mode again? The number that occurs the most. Very good. So here we're looking at lasagna orders for each night. We've got a line plot and we've got a box plot. Which one would you use to tell you the mode? The line plot. Very good. The line plot shows each night's data. The number of orders that occurs the most frequently is 27. Does everybody see that? It's 27. The box plot shows the spread of the data, but does not show individual data, so it does not show the mode. For the got it here, it says, which of the above displays allows you to easily find the median of the data? What's the median again?
The middle number.
The middle number when the data is in order from least to greatest, right? So which one can you go straight to and find the median? The box plot. Very good. You can go right here and you say, oh, that's the median right there in the middle. Is everybody with me? Could I find the median in the line plot? Yes, you could. It would just take a little more work, right? Very good.
Hold on, don't go off the screen.
All right, for this example 2 and 3, it says a survey compared different brands of hair shampoo. The table shows the number of first choice responses for each brand. Select an appropriate type of display to compare the number of responses, and then we want to justify our choice. So here we have our favorite shampoos. We have brand A, B, C, D, E, and F, and then the number of responses. So if I want to use a display that tells me the number of responses for each one of these categories, which one are we going to use? So the data shows the number of responses for each brand, so a bar graph would be the best display to compare the responses. So now we're going, for example 3, we're going to make the appropriate display of the data. Now, step 1 in creating the bar graph is to draw and label horizontal and vertical axes, and then we want to make sure we add a title. So on the horizontal axes, that's where the categories go on a bar graph. Okay? So down here, we have categories. So categories goes on the horizontal axis, and then here, the number of responses, or the frequency, would go on the vertical, or the y-axis. Very good. Then we're going to draw a bar to represent the number of responses for each brand. So here for brand A, that's 35. For brand B, that's 12. Now here you guys see we're counting by fives, and here you had to estimate how much is in there. So a lot of times when I'm doing a bar graph and I have to estimate in there, I like to write down right on top or in the bar what the number is, okay? Just for my own personal knowledge, okay? And then for C, that was 42, and so I would write 42 up there. For D, brand D, that's 24. That's close enough that I really wouldn't have to write 24. So brand E is 8, and brand F was 11. Is everybody clear? What is the difference? What is the visual difference between this bar graph and the histogram? Lily?
There are no spaces in between each
bar. Very good. So there are no spaces between each one of the bars. That's one thing. There's one other thing here. Raise your hand if you can see.
The bottom thing where it usually says like 1 through 10 is different, and instead of having multiple that usually would be in, it's just like one single thing.
Very good. So here on a bar graph there are categories, and then on a histogram you have intervals, right? Remember they go from 0 to 9, 10 to 19, for example. So with a bar graph you have specific categories, and with a histogram there's actually numbers there that indicate intervals. Is everybody clear? All right, so this got it problem is the one you're going to write down. So, and you guys see this data for this and this, they're exactly the same. I just copied it again because I have to move the thing. All right, so it says the table shows the quiz scores of Mr. Vincent's math class. Select an appropriate type of display to allow you to count the number of students with a score of 85 and explain your choice. All right, so we would use a line plot for that because it will show the number of times, on a line plot will show the number of times the value of 85 occurs. Okay? Since we want to do a line plot, what is your first step? So the first thing we want to do is we want to organize the data using a frequency table. So here is my frequency table, okay? And because you see the numbers, they're all multiples of 5, right? What's the lowest number? No. 65. What's the highest number?
100.
100. So we can count 65 down to 100. And when we put those numbers on the number line, that will be good too because we're going to count on the number line counting by 5s. Is everybody clear? So here on my frequency table, I've got 65 to 100. And now we can just tally the data. So here we have 70 and 90. So that's 70 and 90, right? We've got 70 and 100. That's 70 and 100. Does everybody see how we're tallying? Okay, so there we have our frequency chart filled out. Now we can put this information on a number line. So we're just going to write our number line. And again, we're counting from 65 to 100. And then we're going to put the number of tallies as X's on the line plot. Is everybody clear?
Yes.
So when I look at this line plot, what's the mode?
Actually,
85 and 90. Very good. What's the lowest number? The lower extreme? 65. What's the upper extreme? 100. Very good. How many numbers do we have altogether? Is it an even number or is it an odd number?
Even.
It's an even number, right? So when can I find the median from this line plot? Yes, I just get to the two middle numbers and then
you
add them and
And
divide by 2. Very good. Click.